Greetings, my fellow Titans. It's your favorite radioactive gaming Titan, Evolve Godzilla, bringing you episode 4 of The World of Kong, A Natural History of Skull Island, ARC style. As y'all can tell, I have tech turrets out to make sure no pesky animals like Dilophosauruses or the new insect, Rhynionatha, comes in and tries to bother me while I'm trying to record. And so I can make my videos peacefully, which I'm probably going to bring them wherever I go now. For the last 2 videos that's coming up soon. So, previously, we have covered Skull Island's coastline, lowlands, swamps, and other waterways. And we're now here at the jungle, or at least outside of the jungle. This jungle is home to many bizarre dinosaurs, reptiles, insects, and mammals. Which I only have 1 mammal from this place and 1 insect of this place. Now, for a couple of animals, like, let's see, this one, maybe these 2, and this one, I will be reading stuff that I found on the King Kong Wikipedia, because I don't remember much of these animals. So yeah, I have this to help me. But anyway, the first dinosaur we are going to be taking a look at is Venatosaurus, the largest raptor and the most deadliest pack hunter that can take down a full-grown Brontosaurus, besides the V-Rex, by leading the entire herd towards a cliff where they'll fall off to their death. They can get a free meal. And that's what makes these raptors the second most dangerous predator on Skull Island, besides Vistatosaurus Rex. And while the pack is out hunting, at least 1 or 2 guards will protect the nest, along with the eggs or hatchlings, or young. And they will make sure nothing, not even juvenile V-Rexes, get in their territory. And if they do, well, there would be a bloodbath. But that's not the only raptor that we're going to discuss here on this episode, or in this episode. Here we have Venatosaurus impavidus, a smaller subspecies of V-Raptors. These guys hunt larger animals just like their larger cousins, and in the book, their tail tips are blue, an electric blue. Unfortunately, since I'm using the Troodon, that is unfortunately not the case. But they camouflage so well because of their black and orange patterns, almost like a tiger. And they are also mostly specialized in hunting Lygocrestus, along with a type of bull or ox that was thought to have been brought over to Skull Island from the mainland by the natives long ago. Unfortunately, I don't have the bull. But just bear in mind, if y'all have the book, you all will know what I'm talking about. Now, this one y'all have seen in the movie as well. And that is Photoddon, a crocodilian that evolved away from ambushing in the water to ambushing on land. Now, don't think that this crocodilian stays away from water entirely only to come back to get a drink or whatever. The females will lay their eggs next to the water, and then the babies will actually swim around in the water to feed on small fish and live there until they are big enough to live in the jungle, where they would bury themselves in leaf litter. This is also for adults too. They would bury themselves in leaf litter and ambush any unsuspecting prey. Now, due to that ambush tactic, it will leave them with a deformation on their skull. Almost like a rash, almost. Could it be painful? I honestly don't know. One moment. There we go. Sorry guys, it was foggy and raining. And now, back to the dinosaurs. These are some of the oddest of animals that were recorded on Skull Island. One of them being a Spinosaur that evolved to be a omnivore, Avarusaurus. This animal looks like a Spinosaur, but if y'all seen them in the book, they were seen to walk on two legs or on all fours, depending on what terrain they are in. And they have a very acidic stomach, allowing them to digest anything as well as rotting flesh. And these animals will devour anything such as fruit, vegetables, and meat. And maybe eggs, I don't know. But they also come equipped with a large claw on their middle finger to protect themselves from Photodon. Now, if this is a Spinosaur, it is a specialized one if it evolved to be an omnivore. Now this one is one of the most rarest dinosaurs to be seen on Skull Island, mainly because it driven itself to extinction long before Skull Island met its doom. This is Atarkirisaurus, the last of the stegosaurs on Skull Island. These animals look like Stegosaurus, but instead of having the tip of their tail spiked, they have the entirety of their rear spiked. All the way from behind the hips, all the way down to the end of the tail is covered in spikes. Almost like Kentrosaurus. Now, what drove these stegos to extinction is the fact that they eat very specific plants around the interior of the island, and they still have to share them with other herbivores, and they weren't able to adapt quick enough to eat the other plants around the area, and because of that, over-specialization drove these animals to their extinction. And these animals have what are referred to as satellite males, which are males that will travel not far from a herd of females until the breeding season comes. And these animals make specific sounds depending on the situation. The babies and young would make various squeaks and squeals to the parents to get food, and the adults would actually mimic those sounds in case there's any danger. And now, let me introduce you to Skull Island's second largest sauropod, Asperdorsus. Now, this animal is one sauropod that is the most destructive of its kind. Mostly the males. The males would destroy surrounding forests to attract the females to them. And it was thought that they migrated yearly when the fruit they like to eat begins to ripen. And also when it's mating season, obviously. And these animals have very long spikes on the bottom of their throat, around this part, to make sure it's hard for a predator to bite down on the jugular. And they have large spikes on their back that will impale a clumsy predator. Like maybe a V-Rex that loses its footing for some reason. An amazing but destructive sauropod. And this is the smallest sauropod of the island. And you all might be surprised of this one. This is Diablosaurus. And yes, this is a untraditional sauropod. Even though they look like rhinos, they have very short necks, and shorter tails, unlike their sauropod relatives. The reason why they evolved to have their necks shorter is because Skull Island can't support sauropods with long necks, so they would need to have their necks shrunken down. But these animals are the one herbivores on Skull Island that don't have any natural predators, because their armor is very thick. That's impossible for even V-Rex to even kill a full-grown Diablosaurus. Their only way of getting a meal out of a Diablosaurus is the juveniles, because of two reasons. They are smaller and a little bit easier to take down, and that their armor is not yet hardened up yet. And they also have very large horns that they can use to defend themselves from predators and cut through the underbrush with ease. A very odd sauropod, if you ask me. Sorry guys, I had to deal with a Diplodocus that decided to be nosy. But anyway, these two animals I'm going to be showing you guys are specialists when it comes to hunting in the trees. I mean, yeah, they are good at hunting on the ground, but they are mostly specialists in the trees. And I hope I can say their names right. Up first, we have Symmetrodon, a reptile that lives like a panther. These animals prey on many birds in the trees and on the ground. They can feed on small animals and maybe some dinosaur hatchlings. And they are very agile, and they live as solitary predators, except for when the breeding season comes, where the males would find the female, and they would stay together for a couple months, and then the male would leave to live his solitary life, and the young would stay around the female until the next breeding season, in which the female will drive them away. And I forgot to mention this, but the only other time that a male would stick with the female is when it brings food back to the nest for the female. But these guys are kittens when it comes to their larger cousins. This is Carocarptor, I hope I said that right, or commonly known as the Carvers. These are the apex predators of Skull Island's jungle. Besides the V-Raptors, these guys are the apex predators of the tree lines of Skull Island's jungle. And unlike their smaller relatives, the Symmetrodons, these guys mate for life. And if that's not terrifying enough, they can sense thermal radiation like a snake. So once they've picked up your scent, there's definitely no hiding from it. Now this is another odd dinosaur. This is Pugiodorsis, a small armored dinosaur that looks like a two-legged ankylosaur. Now, as y'all can see, there's no spikes, but in the book, they have large shoulder spikes. So predators would have to be extremely careful about where they bite to avoid those spikes. And another thing to mention is that these animals are very fast despite how heavily armored they are. So predators would have to ambush one of these guys to make a meal out of them. Now this is another ceratopsian of Skull Island. This is Silvaceratops, or also known as the treetops. And these ceratopsians are perfectly adapted for living in the dense jungle. They have skinnier limbs and slimmer bodies, as well as huge frills. And these longer limbs help them run through Skull Island's dense jungle with ease, especially being hunted down by a fast-moving predator. And unlike some of their relatives and ancestors, they will only fight when defending their nest of eggs or trying to win breeding rights. And even after they earn the right to breed, they will still have to impress the females, so they would flush color into their frills to impress them. But anyway, this is one of the animals that I have to read up on. This is another agile reptile of Skull Island jungle that specialize in hunting the flightless birds in Skull Island's jungle. Dinocanisaurus, an agile reptile that lives in large social groups of a dozen adults and many pups. They are aggressive little predators, but highly social, depending on defending their territorial boundaries and coordinating an attack or coordinating a hunt. And the young hatchlings will be heavily guarded in small, shallow dens within the trees. Or I think at the base of the trees. You all have seen this bug in the movie. It's called Coelochymex. Even though its appearance may look like a large dragonfly like Meganeura, it's actually a large mosquito that will feed off of the blood of larger animals of Skull Island's jungle. And I hope you bring a very potent bug repellent if y'all want to get rid of a giant bug like that. Now this is probably one of the only primates that are native to Skull Island. This is called the burglar monkey. Despite its name, it's not actually a monkey. It's actually a type of lemur that will prey on anything they can find in the trees, from insects, flower buds, fruit, nuts, and eggs from birds and lizards. Which they will take the eggs at night. And an amazing defense that these little primates have is that they will go into small dens in the trees and ball up to defend themselves. Sorry guys, I had to change it to daytime. Now the reason why I said that the burglar monkeys are probably the only native primate to Skull Island is because the Kong species aren't that native to Skull Island. And I would tell you, but I barely know anything about the Kong species, let alone found anything that's recorded about them, since they are now extinct. But anyway, is this the last dinosaur? Yeah, it is. Now this little dinosaur is called Pinatudamus, otherwise known as the feather devil. Feather devils are small insectivores, and they look like microraptors, and they act similar to microraptors as well. They have a very special type of scale that flicks open whenever they try to glide. And yes, they are gliders and not flyers. And they live like geckos in the trees, and they would actually bark like one when the mating season comes. Now up next we are going to be talking about two flizzards of Skull Island's jungle. These are both called Aladosaurus, but these are two different subspecies. We have Aladosaurus cinnabarus and Aladosaurus scintilla. Now, Aladosaurus cinnabarus has bright red colors and uses its tail like a whip. And it uses that whip either to impress females or drive away rivals. A very bizarre Flizzard overall, but probably not as interesting as its darker cousin. Scintilla, or Aladu Scintilla. This animal have large frills on the side of its neck to attract the females and make it look a little bit more intimidating. You all might not see the differences because these are glowtails, but if y'all look up on the pictures of these two Flizzards, you all will definitely know what I'm talking about. And now, on to the final animal of Skull Island's jungle. We have the Skull Island Hawk, a beautiful bright blue hawk that is a specialist when it comes to preying on the type of Flizzard called Aerosaurs, which they can snatch them out of the air mid-flight. Like I might have said, this animal lacks any good information about it, so I don't know much about that one, even from what I found on the King Kong Wikipedia. But anyway, that's going to wrap up this episode of The World of Kong, A Natural History of Skull Island, ARK style. Thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed this, and if you did want to see more Skull Island videos, leave a like and a comment down below and let me know, and don't forget to check out my other Skull Island videos. And I was actually able to create 2 new bugs for the insect pit. So the insect pit will be its own video. Probably a shorter one than all the rest, but it'll be a good one. Or it will be a good one. But, as always, thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Evolve Godzilla. I am out, and peace.